A few months ago, I participated in a 24-hour live stream. There were lots of laughs and many pain, mostly inflicted by you, my wonderful viewers, but the point of bringing it up now is that during said stream, I ended up using a rather unlikely weapon, the Dark Hand. Or, more specifically, I had to use the Dark Hand's life drain ability. Now, I thought this attack was largely worthless unless it's used on an NPC. Apparently, I was wrong. It did absolutely bonkers numbers on an NG plus Vort, so I thought, why not make a run over it? That was a mistake, and this is my story. First, I make a character. The Dark Hand doesn't have any stat requirements, so any class will do. In hindsight, I absolutely should have picked something that wasn't deprived. Probably literally any of them would be better, but I thought, hey, challenge run. I also take the life ring for a tiny bit of extra health. I name her Cost You Extra because we about to give everything the Kirby suck. So, to directly answer the question, can you beat the game with only the Dark Hand? No, absolutely not, for two reasons. The most obvious of which is that in order to even get the Dark Hand, you need Yudia to spawn, meaning Yol has to die, who is after Vort. In other words, Gundyr and Vort both need to be dead or skipped. Now, you could of course do the whole lizard strat, or you know, that one neat glitch where you put your save file on an old IBM computer, then dump it into the ocean while sprinting through the arena, then Deathcam Teardrop whatchamahave to skip Vort. Sure, I could have done those. Or fucking Cheat Engine. The second reason why you can't beat it? Well, just watch this. Now, you might be thinking, well, this attack just doesn't work on non-NPCs. No, it does, it just missed. And missed. And missed some more. Basically, every enemy in the game that doesn't lean into me while I'm attacking, it'll miss. On top of that, the damage is Garbo. It looks fine right now, but that's only because this is early game and bosses just don't have that much health yet. The only good thing is that FP is not required to do full damage. Apparently. I don't know if that's the case for the actual lifesteal ability like on NPCs, but for just hitting things, it doesn't matter, the damage is the same. So at the very least, I don't have to worry about running out of FP. Gundyr Phase 2 is actually easier just because he's so much bigger, and miraculously, he goes down on the first try. But I do not have a good feeling about this. I use his souls to level Vigor because the increase from stats seem to be minimal. Right decision? Nothing about this run is the right decision. Oh, High Wall of Lothric, what will you do to me this time? I barrel through, making sure to grab nothing really, open the shortcut, then head straight to Vort. Oh, that's less damage than I was expecting. This might be a problem. To be fair, during the livestream I had way more stats, like 33 in Faith and a few in Int and some in Strength and Dex, a real quality build for this shit quality weapon. Now, you might be thinking, well, stats usually don't give that big of a numbers increase anyway, upgrades is where it's at. Correct! The Dark Hand cannot be upgraded, buffed, or infused. What you see is what you get. It can be a shield, but it's garbage at that too. This is a lore inclusion, right? Like the Fist of Gradia in Bloodborne, like it was never intended to be used seriously, there's just no way. Vort then gives a visual representation of what this run feels like to me. I use his souls to pump Vigor some more, then remember that I totally didn't remember the little banner from Emma. It did cross my mind to attempt to answer now, but nah. You want to see problem number 6033 with this thing? I can't hit enemies low to the ground. Yeah, I'm sure that won't be a problem later. Please, 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 please. So yeah, if you couldn't guess, I'll just be running by pretty much everything. I mean, to be fair, that's kind of how a lot of my runs go anyway, but in this case, I struggle to kill pretty much anything that isn't a moderately sized boulder, but with the health reserves of a hemophilic gnat. I make sure to grab the Undead Bone Shard because honestly, I have a worry that this thing is going to turn into me just tanking every attack. I'd wear heavy armor, but poise is a made-up stat in this game. Oh please no, I need him, like actually game please. I make nice with the giant, then Sigurd and I take on the fire demon, and by Sigurd and I mean 95% him and I am his Dark Hand cheerleader. I mean, I tried, but unless it's aggroed on him and I get some tail shots, it's just not happening. Do it, Sigurd, finish it! Can't take you anywhere. And then buy some homeward bones just to make my life easier and level Vigor some more. The whole reason I came this way to begin with, though, is for the two rings at the top. Flynn's ring boosts damage at low equip loads, and the Chloranthy ring for additional stamina regen. I'll be honest, I don't know if Flynn's ring is going to help or not. I mean, without armor, I am definitely under the weight requirement, but I'm not sure how it will interact with the Dark Hand. But I also don't have other rings, so oh well. I hate this game. No, like, I actually hate this game. I thought I would then attempt to curse Rod of Greatwood. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Okay, well, you know what? He's optional. I'll come back when I have more health. At this point, I decided to quickly test if Fling's ring actually did anything, and to my surprise, it does. Equipped, I do 196 damage to these basic hollows, and without it, it's 181. A whole 15 damage, let's go! I then wanted to make some progress towards the Crystal Sage, but unfortunately the teleporting dogs made it to where I couldn't easily light the bonfire. And when I did finally get it lit, Fido over there was bound and determined to not let me rest. Eventually, I finally landed a hit and he survived. That's fucking awesome. Fortunately, he went behind the tree, giving me just enough time and distance to rest. Yeah, I'm not having fun. But for now, I pressed on, grabbing the Estus Shard and figured I'd try to take on the Crystal Sage now. I mean, it's a boss that sits mostly still. That shouldn't be an issue. Hey Jane, can you add that gif of Mushu saying, "How could you miss?" What do you mean, not in the budget? So, Phase 1 actually really isn't that big of a problem. One stage that attacks pretty slow, yeah, no issue. Phase 2? Oh, Phase 2 was a mistake. My first plan was to go straight for the main stage, but then on my second try I thought, hey, the clones die in one hit, right? I can clear them out and take my time. That's not a bad idea. And it wouldn't be. You know, if I could fucking hit anything. Okay, maybe the Abyss Watchers will be easier. I mean, Phase 1 starts with a helper, right? Then Phase 2 is a 1v1. I tried to cheese Dumb and Dumber, but I was actually watching the sequel where Dumbest got introduced. It's me, I'm Dumbest. Grab the Estus Shard, fat roll through purple water, get vacuumed into a backstab, just Dark Souls things really. So, let me ask you a question, everybody. Slow attack plus fast enemy times slow hitbox divided by 1 AI helper to the power of enemy helper all multiplied by being poisoned equals... That's right, a really bad time! Normally in these runs it's like one of those pick 2 triangles, right? Like slow attack, bad hitbox, terrible damage. The Dark Hand is more like a pick octagon and all of them suck. It has 0 weight, that's literally the only good thing about it, but like, who cares because you wouldn't want to use it over anything else anyway. I need a moment, okay? Okay. I'm okay. I mean, I'm not okay, but I'm okay. I decided to loop back to the Curse Rod at Greatwood. Boss is very likely easier and will give some souls for levels. Okay, Mr. Wood, turn your head and cough. Phase 1 is actually pretty easy. He doesn't really do anything, so I just stand there and bust his balls. Phase 2, the plan was to bait the attack where he spins around then slams his hand behind him, but I was finding it hard to capitalize on that. However, when he stands up and just falls over, he lays there for a long time. Like, long enough to get 2 easy hits in and a third if you reposition correctly. And that was it. Cursed Wood has been rotted. Just like me during the Millennia fight. Now, at this point, you might be expecting me to use his souls for vigor, and that's fair, but I was kind of hoping I could get more damage out of this stupid thing. So, I put 1 point in the strength, going from 196 to 197. Wow. Maybe Dex is better, so 1 level in Dex and it's 198. Okay, you know what? Maybe the ability doesn't scale with strength or dex, and in the stream I had like a billion faith, so let's try that. So plus 1 faith and it's 199. I'm sensing a pattern. If I put 1 into int, can you guess what the damage will be? Wrong! It's 201 for some fucking reason. Well, I guess it's good that I can get more damage. I mean, technically speaking, 1 extra damage is better than no extra damage. Unless you count the amount of hits needed to actually do something, but let's just pretend it's okay. I then totally, absolutely first tried the tree skip and grabbed another Estus Shard and the Silver Serpent's Ring. I don't even know what would be easier to fight, so I just kinda go to the Abyss Watchers. While I'm here, if you enjoy these kinds of videos, then why not consider subscribing? I'm trying to make it to 10 billion by the end of the year, and if you all lend a hand, I'm sure I can make it. Thanks everyone, I appreciate you. So, Abyss Watchers. Yeah, no, it's not happening. I spent 10 minutes in this fight just trying to find a window to attack, and I didn't even make it through Phase 1. Imagine, one of the easiest fights in the game, 10 minutes, couldn't even get halfway there. Okay, maybe Crystal Sage. So, good news, great news, and bad news. The good news is I learned a new strat, if you can call it that. I found it easier to hit things if you stand more to their side. I assume perhaps that this is because the hitbox is active during the swing and the character kind of throws their arm out. I guess. The great news is that I got super lucky with finding the correct sage when I needed to. I know you can memorize the crystal spawns, but no. The bad news is that means I have to keep going. Well, more levels of vigor, I guess. While there is some stuff in the cathedral for me, I decided to head back to the Abyss Watchers, mainly because killing Sage, or any boss I suppose, embers you up, so I had some extra health that I didn't want to waste. Phase 1, I needed my helper friend. Now, you might think I want him to distract the boss, but that's honestly not the preferred outcome. If he's distracting the boss, it means I'm not really able to bait any specific attack. Similarly, if he's distracting both of them, it's that, but also the fact that there are just swords swinging everywhere, so it's kind of impossible to get a hit in without, well, getting hit. So what would be ideal is if the two ads just fucked off and punched each other to death in a corner while I tried to solo the boss. Now, everyone who's done this fight knows that's not how it goes. The AI feels all over the place, sometimes switching targets seemingly at random, so I had no choice but to try and take any of the shots that I could. When I watched the footage back, the helper did more damage than me. Not by much, but it looks like I did about 45% of the boss's health bar and he did the rest. Okay, I mean, I'll take it. On to phase 2, where things get like 10% harder and 7% easier. So, it being a one-on-one means I can more easily control the flow of the fight, but also means I no longer have a distraction. But I also had a secret weapon. It's the knowledge that while jump attacks look cool, this isn't Elden Ring, so they're kind of a horrible choice. The whole plan is to bait one single attack, his front flip, then sprint behind him, unlock the camera, and smack his ass. That's it. That is the whole fight, which by the way, took 17 minutes. At the end, it was down to the wire. We were both one hit away, but thankfully I was able to clutch it out. I don't feel accomplished. I feel exhausted. At this point, I really wanted to get more damage out of this glove. The bosses up to now have been pretty squishy, but that's not going to work forever. So, hello cheat engine, my old friend. I've come to use you again. Leave it in, Jane. So yeah, let's see how much damage I can do if I max out different stats. 99 intelligence, 262 damage. 99 faith, 262. 99 strength, 256. 99 dexterity, also 256. So it seems the life drain ability scales higher with the magical stats, but at 99 faith and int, it's only 320 damage. And at 99 in all 4 stats, we get a whopping 430 damage. Now, on the one hand, that is a nice boost, more than double. On the other hand, it's still awful and would require leveling 4 stats to 99. There's no way. At a much more reasonable 20 in all stats, the damage is 269. I'll take that. So, with the souls I level Vigor a couple times and also int and faith. Back at the cathedral, I thought it would actually be fun to see how the life drain skill really works. Gonna be honest here, I have no idea how you would ever hit a player with this unless they are AFK or distracted and playing in first person. It also restores health. I mean, it is called life drain, but like, that's not a lot. Maybe it's because the target had no health, but at this point, I don't believe there's anything redeemable about this. Let me know in the comments how I'm using it wrong, and it's actually the most overpowered weapon in the whole game. Also, dogs. You want to know how I survived this? One of the dogs teleported out of bounds and died, and I somehow managed to DS2 hitbox the second one. I grabbed the Estus and Undead Bone Shard, but the main thing I wanted was Lloyd's Sword Ring. It boosts damage at full HP. I don't think it will be a lot of damage, but it's kind of one of those every little bit helps things. I then got invaded by Kirk, and I wanted to fight him, but like, I can't hit this little bastard, and he's body blocking the door. Funnily enough, Kirk pushed him through the door, then he walked into my attack. Yeah, real funny. I thought it would be easy to just poise through his light attack and grab him, but then I didn't have the health to tank it, so never mind. Y'all want to see how stupid I am? I thought the lift wasn't there because the wood was the same shade as the abyss, so I couldn't see it. So, I just went to Deacons. But really, I never used that shortcut because Deacons are never a problem. So the Deacons are a problem. First, it takes 3 hits to kill the small Deacons and several more for the bigger ones. Problem 1, the boss doesn't take damage unless the Deacon dies. Much bigger problem 2, if you don't kill the Deacon host fast enough, the soul will jump anyway, meaning the time and health spent fighting it is wasted. Some small, and I mean microscopic, good news is that the enemies are not terribly hard to hit. They lumber around slowly and aren't hunched over or anything, but did you know in Phase 2, the blue ones can heal? Because I didn't. If that's all it was, this actually wouldn't be much of a problem, but as you know, the boss has an enrage timer. Funnily enough, that's not how I died this time, but it will be an issue, I assure you. At this point, I decided to turn my attention to the catacomb. I wasn't sure if Wolnir would be harder or easier, but I just didn't want to deal with the Deacons. Indiana Jones, he is not. To my amazement, punching the bridge is enough to break it. I then take a rest in this totally not dangerous spot for no reason. Old Demon King is pretty easy. So Wolnir, I honestly had no idea how this was gonna go. I've had runs where the bracelets shatter instantly and others where they took forever. I don't know if it's based on hits or damage or what. Regardless, I still actually have to hit the damn things. To my immense relief, the first one shattered in 2 hits. The second one took several more, which was exacerbated by the fact that while Wolnir moves really slowly, this attack moves at the equivalent pace of a mummified slug crawling through salt mines. After what felt like hours, the second bracelet shattered, but the battle was not anywhere near finished, especially because these bony pricks are part of the fight. At one point, I nearly died, and I guess all those levels in Vigor were a good investment. Somehow. With a little more persistence, the Glam Master skeleton is banished to the JCPenney's bargain bin. Do JCPenney's still exist? I use his souls to get more levels in Int and Faith, then head back to the cathedral where my last remaining brain cell actually makes a connection that this platform is there, open the big doors, and continue Sigurd's questline by talking to Sieg Meyer. Get it? It's not Sigurd. It's Patches, but not Sigurd, so Sieg Meyer, dude. Is this the funny jokes? Are you guys laughing yet? I then proceed to cross the rafters in complete safety and give Patches the suck of his life. Literally. Oh, wishing well. I wish for some Elden Ring DLC. I return to Firelink and pop a bunch of souls to get even more levels in Int and Faith in some vain attempt to get more damage, then try the Deacons again. So, here's what I need to do. I need to play the game like a normal person and not a masochistic lunatic, but that's not going to happen. Second best desire is that I can two-shot the small Deacons. I think the enraged timer on the boss doesn't start until the main Deacon spawns, so in theory I could just wait out the soul jumping and only attack the small ones. Right now I can two-shot with Lloyd's Sword Ring active, but that very much so won't be a thing after I try and throw the first punch. Without the two-shot and or the secret weapon I'll discuss in a second, all of my attempts ended like the way my father looked at me when I was a child. It's a fucking disappointment. My secret weapon, you ask? Well, it's friendship, of course, but not with these dicks. It's with all of you out there. I just want to say thank you to everyone with a special thanks to my Patreons. Y'all help keep the channel and Dream alive. Stay beautiful, everybody. So, that secret weapon? It's pocket sand. Except, do you know who sells pocket sand? That's right, it's Patches, but he's dead. So instead, that means I buy them from Patches. I grab a couple more by the immortal dogs of the undead settlement, a few more from behind his house, then even more from this little reading nook. With 10 in my inventory, I return to the Deacons. So, again, I think I don't have to worry about instantly losing in Phase 1, so there really isn't a reason to throw them, especially because I want to distract the blue Healy boys with them. As such, I just run around in circles attacking the possessed Deacon as necessary. But during Phase 2, I felt like it wasn't going very well, so I actually ended up not using any skulls to not waste them, and to the surprise of absolutely no one, I died. I tried again, sure that this one was going to be the run. I could feel it, I was ready, these Deacons were toast. Okay, so maybe I need more souls, rather for levels or skulls, I don't know, but if you haven't noticed, killing anything with this weapon is a chore. But what if I don't have to do the killing? What if I make the Bone Squad fight this demon for me? Okay, well, that didn't work. Did I say Bone Squad? I meant Gene Simmons. This worked pretty well. Until I was the one in his love gun sights. More levels in Faith for probably not more damage. Then I thought, you know what, fuck it, let's try the Dancer. If I can beat her, it's at least RTSR, right? Allow me to show you a typical interaction with this boss. I lived, but at what cost? Well, the cost was about 5 seconds of my life because now I'm actually dead. As you can imagine, I struggled to hit this boss at all. She, on the other hand, had no problems hitting me. That being said, she does have some openings that were big enough, like the grab attack, but for the time being, she's lost her dance partner. I then thought, why not try the Stray Demon in Fair and Keep? This was surprisingly easy. Okay, well actually, I guess it's kind of not that surprising. I mean, he's got an ass so big, it's got its own gravitational pull, sucking my hand into it while my hand sucks his life out, and I no longer like where the sentence is going. I did contemplate getting Havel's Ring because, let's be real, Flint's Ring is doing basically nothing, but in the end, I thought more levels would be better. So I went with more Faith, then headed back to the Demon Runes to continue my budget Doomslayer cosplay. I wasn't exactly sure how to handle this encounter, as I would not stand up to more than a couple thwacks of his Great Hammer, but then innovation struck. I ran directly at him, under his lava breath, and punched him in the dick, and there it was, the strategy sent from Gwyn himself. It's not even only the lava breath. Most of his attacks while sprinting at him allow just enough time to give him the equivalent experience of going down a water slide without any water. And after about 5 minutes of forcefully peeling his banana, he explodes.
No, this never happened, I swear.
Sure, bud. Funnily enough, I always forget how many times he explodes. It's one, he ain't got any more in him. So I hang back for a while, then when I finally think it's safe, I smack him in the booty for some sweet, sweet souls. I then get some more levels and spend the remainder on some skulls. Hello boys, I'm back!
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
I tried again and I'm so close to being able to two-shot the small Deacons. They live on an actual sliver of HP, so in the end it was once again a failure. But I had an idea. Reallocate my stats. I mean, they didn't hit particularly hard, and the curse is an instant death anyway, so I can just remove a few points of vigor in favor of damage to push myself over the line. And with that, I was finally able to two-shot the small deacons. But I have to be honest here. I'm not having fun. And I don't mean the normal, this run is horrible, I'd rather give myself a colonoscopy with a cheese grater kind of fun. I mean, I'm beginning to loathe the idea of attempting this. For reference, this script is being written on June 11th. The first video of the run was recorded April 21st. After nearly 2 months, I had made it to Deacons. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's just how bad the weapon is, Doom, and sure, it sucks, but actually no. In that time, I had recorded a whopping 4 hours and 37 minutes of footage. So, in nearly 2 months, I played less than 5 hours of this run. Sure, I'll be a little nice to it here, even though the run really doesn't deserve it, as the Oblivion remaster, Doom the Dark Ages, and Night Rain all came out within that time frame, but still, every time I thought about continuing this run, I groaned and had to drag myself to the computer. And it's weird because it's not, hard. I mean, I've already highlighted the issues with the attack, but for example, Deacons, it's not a hard fight, it's just boring. Then, of course, I got to thinking about later bosses, or rather, faster bosses, things like Pontiff, Soul of Cinder, and, oh god, the Twin Princes. I don't even know if I can hit Lothric while he's on Lorien. Anyway, the point is, I just wasn't having fun. Even on this attempt that you're watching, I got 1 hit away from beating the Deacons again, and normally you think, oh man, so close, if I just try again, I got this, but instead I just felt, well, hollow. I decided to Hail Mary the Painted World because Frida has NPC tendencies, so if she can be grabbed, that fight should be a cakewalk. I also thought about doing Gravetender as well, as he definitely should be grabbable, but there's a big angry wolf in the arena, as well as 4 smaller ones, which on this run probably make them invincible, so no, I don't think I will. I was worried about Wilhelm at first, but he then performs a visual representation of what this run is doing to me, and finally it's time for Frida. So like I said, this hinges entirely on her being grabbable. And she's not. That being said, the jump attack is the free opening needed to win the fight. If she gets the attack off, it really hurts. In fact, without an Ember, it's almost instant death for me. Now, you might be thinking, well, just don't let her get it off. It's not that hard to track her when she jumps, and usually yes, but needing her to do it so many times makes the likelihood of messing up much higher. Or you can just be too slow and she apparently gets hyper armor at the end, so that's fun. She does have 0 poise, so with some risk you can smack her during other attacks, but in the end just baiting the jump is probably better, but as you can see, I didn't really get anywhere close. So, can you beat Dark Souls 3 with only the Dark Hands ability? Theoretically, yes. Can I? Apparently not. Should anyone? Absolutely fucking not. Take it out back and Old Yeller it immediately.